Hello, and welcome back to English for You. I'm Seb.
I'm Chickling.
And I'm so excited to get back into today's unit because, we're talking about how the articles for English for You are made. So, shall we get started?
We should.
Reading.
Behind the scenes of a magazine. How our ideas get onto the printed page. After an article is written, it's proofread by the writer's native English-speaking colleagues. We look for errors or try to find better ways of expressing some sentences. Sometimes we find grammar that's too difficult and have to rewrite it more simply. Nobody writes perfectly, and we all benefit from this type of help. Our Taiwanese editors will then comb through each new article and look for useful items to teach. These include words, phrases, and grammar patterns. A foreign editor will write example sentences for all of these teaching points so you can learn to use them yourselves. Meanwhile, the Taiwanese editor writes the definitions and translations in Chinese. The finished article is combined with the teaching points and turned into a unit. The final materials get sent to our editor-in-chief. She might ask for small changes. Lastly, our graphic designer does the layout to make the unit look attractive. This is how we go the extra mile to make a perfect English lesson just for you.
Okay, so we're back, and we've got the first line of our article. After an article is written, it's proofread by the writer's native English-speaking colleagues. Before we move on, what does colleagues mean again?
同事或者是同僚啊，所以当一篇文章已经完成了，就会有写作的人，我们的母语同事呢就会来校阅。那我们来比较一下 coworker 跟 colleague 的用法。其实这两个字在中文都是同事，不过 coworker 通常有分位阶，所以 maybe your manager can be your coworker， 那么 colleague 就比较像是同等位阶。We don't really say that your manager is your colleague.
So what happens after this? We give it to the native English speakers. They're reading through it. They're proofreading through it. And what happens when they do this? Well, proofreading is basically where you read someone else's work and you look to try and find some mistakes or errors or things that could be written better. And that's what the article says. It says, we look for errors or try to find better ways of expressing some sentences. Right, the first thing that we need to look out for there is errors. Now, an error, that's a noun, is a mistake. Have you ever got your homework back from the teacher and got a really bad grade? The page is covered in lots of red pen and corrections. That's because you've made a lot of errors. Yeah. However, if you look at your homework again and you realize that it doesn't have your name on it, it has someone else's name on it, that means the teacher made an error because they gave you the wrong paper. So here's an example. Wendy made an error writing the address on her mum's birthday card, and it got sent to the wrong person.
Oops.
She made a mistake.
Right. 所以 error 就是错误或者是差错。那老师刚才讲好多犯错，我们就是用 make 这个动词了。To make an error 就是犯错。那么纠正我们用 correct 就可以了，或者是找出就用 find 也可以。那我们造一个句子 I've made an error with my delivery address. Do you know how to fix it? 好，所以母语老师们呢，除了做前面的工作，我们还会找出文章的错误。还有什么呢？除了找出文章的错误 we have to express what?
Right.
Yeah, express it. What does that mean?
We need to express ideas in a simpler way. So express is a verb. And when we express ideas, thoughts, and feelings, we make other people know our ideas, thoughts, and feelings. Normally, we do this with words. So here's an example. Brenda expressed her anger at the rude hotel clerk through a strongly worded letter to his manager. Okay, so she's very angry and she's getting that anger through to the manager by writing a strongly worded letter. She's expressing it through that letter.
所以就是表达陈述的意思。那么表达自己，我们在后面加 oneself 就好了。所以表达你自己 express yourself or express myself 表达我自己。那我们可以造一个句子 He finds it hard to express himself in writing. 所以除了找到错误之外呢，这些母语老师们还会找出更好的表达方式。
So we can go through some other things when we're proofreading. We can find some other errors that we need to correct. Sometimes we find grammar that's too difficult and have to rewrite it more simply. Right, that's something which I think all native English writers struggle with a little bit, is there's certain kinds of grammar that we're so used to using as kids and growing up that we forget that it's actually tricky if you're learning the language. So that happens quite frequently.
所以有些外国编辑就会找出太难的文法，然后用比较容易一点的方式改写。I think this is going to be a little bit difficult for me too. If you want me to teach a foreigner how to speak Taiwanese, and then I'm like, yeah, this is quite easy for me because I was born learning, speaking the language, and then you have
and
to.
And for you, it's just right.
Yeah,
it's just
but
correct.
then you have to explain how to use it. 所以我们下一个文章就是说 Nobody writes perfectly, and we all benefit from this type of help.
Right, that's very true. We all kind of learn. I definitely think that I've become a better writer since I started working at English4U. And so I can say that I've benefited from that experience. Now, benefit is a verb, and when we benefit from something, we are better off because of it, or something good happens to us because of it. So what is the article saying? Basically, that we all get better at writing because of the changes that other editors suggest. So I think there's lots of ways that the quality of my articles has improved because, you're always getting this feedback. It's almost like your co-workers or your colleagues are your teacher in a way because you're always getting your homework back. And I think that's something very special about working in a magazine. Not all jobs give you that kind of feedback. Feedback, remember, is the information that someone gives you about your performance at a job or how well you did something, and you can learn how you can improve by doing it. So here's an example sentence, though, of how one person got better at something. Trevor's computer shop benefited greatly when the other computer shops in town closed down. Why is that? Well, it's because all of the other stores were closed, so that meant everybody had to go to Trevor's shop to buy things. So the benefit he got was money.
Yeah, 所以 benefit 这边是动词，就是对什么有好处啊，或者是受益于什么事情哦。那么 benefit 这个字也可以当名词，那就是好处或者是优势的意思。譬如说 his money was used for the benefit of poor children, 代表他的钱被用在去帮助这些贫困的小孩。所以没有人写作可以是完美无瑕的，所以每个人呢都能从这种方式呢去得到好处，大家互相学习，互相评鉴。
So moving on, when we finish proofreading it, now normally in a regular magazine for native speakers, this might be where things end. But obviously, because we're making educational materials, there's some extra steps that we have to add to the end of this process. So the article goes on, our Taiwanese editors will then comb through each new article and look for useful items to teach. Okay, so they comb through it. Now, you might remember that a comb is a kind of object you use to brush your hair, but why are we using it in this context? Chickling, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
就是一种很仔细搜寻的意思。Maybe you can think of our hair as something that's like a lot. 就是我们的头发很多嘛，你就想成 you can think of your hair as a lot of information，所以你必须要在很多的头发里面，很多的资讯里面仔细搜寻一些东西出来。所以我们的台湾编辑呢，就会在写好的文章中仔细搜寻实用的英文用法来教学哦。
So what kind of useful items are we teaching with? Well, the article says these include words, phrases, and grammar patterns.
所以这些用法呢，就包括单字啊、片语、文法等等的，都是。
So once we've got these things, we'll then make some extra resources that you can use to learn more about these phrases, this grammar, these words, etc. So a foreign editor will write example sentences for all of these teaching points so you can learn to use them yourselves, right? That way you don't just know how to use them as they were used in the article.
Right, 所以国外编辑呢，就会从我们的教学点上面写出例句，大家就可以学会说自学怎么使用这些用法。Yeah, sometimes when we are learning a new language, that's what we have to do, is to make sentences. So you know how to use it.
It is very, actually, because I take Chinese classes, that's what my teacher always gets me to do afterwards when we have...
make Chinese sentences.
Make Chinese sentences,
okay,
exactly. That's my normal homework. Anyway, meanwhile, so there's more happening at the same time. Meanwhile, the Taiwanese editor writes the definitions and translations in Chinese. Okay, so that means that, if you're studying on your own, you can check what it means. It's a very useful and very important job to do. So definitions, what are definitions? Well, definition is a noun. And how do I define a definition? It's a tricky one to do. The reason I'm stuck is because the definition, it means the meaning of something. So how do you say what the meaning of something means?
Yeah.
I guess my way of defining definition would be, for example, the definition of the word apple is a red or green fruit that grows on trees, is crunchy, sweet, and round. So I just described an apple, and so I gave you a definition for what the word apple means.
Wow.
So
you're amazing.
That's why I have this job. But basically, that is how we use definition. When we define things, by the way, that's the verb form, we give a definition of something. So here's an example sentence which kind of deals with both of those. The teacher's definition of the word eager wasn't accurate. So the students still didn't know what it meant. Right, if you don't give an accurate definition, people aren't going to really understand what a word means.
Right. Yeah, my job is easier than yours. I can simply translate it. 所以同时呢，我们的台湾编辑就会写下中文的意思以及翻译。所以 definition 就是定义或者是释义的意思。我们也看到这个字 translation， 它就是翻译或译文。我刚刚的讲话我也有讲到 translate 这个字，它是动词。你把那个原来的名词 ion 去掉，然后加一个 e 就好了。那么 define 老师刚刚讲到咯，就是动词，那它是给什么下定义或者是确定什么的界限。所以你可以说It is hard to define the concept of beauty. Everyone is beautiful. 所以 translation 我们刚刚讲到了 translate 再记一次哦，是给什么翻译的意思。
So by now we've actually finished the article. The unit we're looking at says the finished article is combined with the teaching points and turned into a unit. So with the teaching points there, that's kind of a special word we use at this company. You don't really need to know that one for your exams. Teaching points includes all of the example sentences, the definitions, but also the lessons that we record or are recording right now in the studio. So we are recording the teaching points right now. Wow, things just got really meta. So yes, we combine all of this together to make a unit. But what is this action combine? What does that mean?
Combine 就是结合，所以我们常常会用 to combine A with B， 就是把 A 跟 B 结合，所以完成的文章呢就会与教学要点结合，变成了一个章节哦。那我们再造一个句子 We should learn to combine business with pleasure. 我们必须要把我们的工作啊跟快乐结合在一起，才不会工作得很辛苦啦。
I hope I can do that one day.
Yeah, me too.
That's goals, personal goals.
Yeah.
Anyway, so once we've done all of this and we have our final materials, the final materials get sent to our editor-in-chief. And this is the top boss, the big boss, who's in charge of the whole magazine. So these materials, what are the materials? Well, a material is a noun. And when we talk about materials with an S, and that's because normally this noun is pluralized. We mean the papers, documents, books, or computer files that we use for a particular purpose. For example, your English4U magazine is one of the materials you are supposed to bring to your English class. It's one of the things you need to study. We could also say it is one of the resources you use to learn English. Resource also means 材料. So let's look at our example sentence now. Amy didn't bring the right materials to her art exam. She'll have to go home and get them if she wants to take part.
所以 material 就是材料或素材的意思。所以呢 material 呢，它除了当名词也可以当形容词，像是物质的东西 material things。所以我们再来一个句子 Some people believe that material things lead them to happiness。所以最终的素材呢，就会寄到我们的主编。
And sometimes the article says she might ask for small changes.
所以有时候呢，他就要请大家做一些小修改哦。
Actually, today she asked me for a big change, but that was more my mistake. Anyway, lastly, once we've got everything looking perfect, the editor-in-chief is happy, the Taiwanese editors are happy, we're all happy. Lastly, our graphic designer does the layout to make the unit look attractive. So what does attractive mean? Well, attractive is an adjective, and when something is attractive, it looks nice and it makes us interested in it. You've probably already used attractive to talk about people, as in an attractive boy or an attractive girl. But you could also use attractive to talk about an idea or a plan, as in, Felicity thinks the idea of going hiking on Saturday sounds attractive, and so she'll probably do it.
所以 attractive 就是引人注意的或者是诱人的。那么其实很简单的把 IVE 拿掉就变成 attract， 就是吸引咯。所以我们常常用的片语就是 be attracted to or by someone or something。所以你可以说 she is always attracted to tall men， 代表她常常都会被比较高的男生吸引。又或者呢，把某人吸引到某个地方去，你也可以说 to attract someone to something。所以最后我们的美编呢，就会着手杂志的排版，让我们的章节看起来更漂亮。
And this is how we go the extra mile to make a perfect English lesson just for you.
那接下来我们进到 Pocket Phrase Go. Then we will go to our activity for today.
Pocket Phrase Go!
「身为专业的家庭主妇，花妈偶每天帮家人煮饭、洗碗、打扫，为家人尽心尽力。I go the extra mile for my family。我总是为我的家人多努力一些。但是今天花妈偶累了，要来追个剧，先跟欧巴相聚啦。懂 ？mile 这个字呢，就是英里距离的单位哦。extra 则是多出来的、额外的。所以呢，我呢不只走我该走的，我还多走了几英里。意思呢，就是我加把劲，多做了一些付出额外的努力哦。我们呢也可以把它翻译为尽心尽力了。例如呢 ，He would always go the extra mile for his friend。他总是呢为朋友尽心尽力，就是这个意思咯。
For you chat.
Okay, so you guys might have already read this, but we've got a really exciting activity for this month's activity article. We're actually going to get you guys involved in the process of making a unit for English4U. We're going to put one of your ideas in the magazine. So, what should a pitch include? Well, obviously, you need to tell us what your story is about. So, for example, I want to write about pandas. Pandas is my topic, okay? Next, the second thing you need to tell us is why you think this story is important. So, do you think a lot of the English4U readers really like pandas. Therefore, I think an article about pandas will be very interesting.
Okay.
And lastly, you can talk about what will make your story special. So, You could say, I know an expert on pandas who can give me lots of interesting information other people don't know. Or, I looked after pandas for 3 years in China, and therefore I know lots about pandas.
Wow.
So those are the 3 key things you need to put in your pitch. What your pitch is about, why your pitch is important or special, and what you can add with your pitch, what makes you doing this so special. Okay?
Okay.
So Chicklin, I know that you have a couple of ideas that you would actually want to put in the magazine, right?
Well, I actually didn't, but now you said something about the panda.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of really want to write an article about this singer, one of my favorites. Well, he is my only favorite. I can say that.
Oh, wow.
Sam Smith.
Sam Smith.
Yeah,
wow.
we should definitely.
We haven't done Sam
Yeah,
Smith.
we haven't done him, right? I think we should. He's like really outstanding. I can't find any other word to describe him. He's amazing.
A great singer.
He's really attractive to me. And attractive 这个今天我们讲过的字，所以刚刚老师讲到的第一个点 What is our first point?
So what is our article going to be about? So we've got it. It's about Sam Smith. But why do you think that this would be an interesting one?
Because he's got a lot of pop songs that people here in Taiwan listen to.
Read
and I
about
listened to
Sam
the song Dancing with a Stranger, right? Some song like Lay Me Down.
Yeah. So we could see why that would be very interesting, obviously. And I'm going to take a wild stab here. But as you are someone who knows a lot about music, you're a musician, you could probably provide an interesting angle about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was Chicklin's pitch. But what about your guys' pitches? Write into us and we can't wait to read them. And just maybe you'll end up in our next issue. Okay, so that's all the time we have for today. For English for You, I'm Seb.
I'm Chicklin.
And we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Behind the scenes of a magazine. How our ideas get onto the printed page. After an article is written, it's proofread by the writer's native English-speaking colleagues. We look for errors or try to find better ways of expressing some sentences. Sometimes we find grammar that's too difficult and have to rewrite it more simply. Nobody writes perfectly, and we all benefit from this type of help. Our Taiwanese editors will then comb through each new article and look for useful items to teach. These include words, phrases, and grammar patterns. A foreign editor will write example sentences for all of these teaching points so you can learn to use them yourselves. Meanwhile, the Taiwanese editor writes the definitions and translations in Chinese. The finished article is combined with the teaching points and turned into a unit. The final materials get sent to our editor-in-chief. She might ask for small changes. Lastly, our graphic designer does the layout to make the unit look attractive. This is how we go the extra mile to make a perfect English lesson just for you.
Vocabulary Review.
Error. Jennifer lost marks on her math test because she made errors when adding some numbers together. Express. Kathy expressed her happiness with a big smile on her face. Benefit. The new MRT line will benefit the people who live in this area. Definition. Dennis looked in the dictionary to find a definition for a word he hadn't heard before. Material. The teacher prepared a lot of materials for students to use during her English class. Attractive. The new carpet and colorful curtains made the room look attractive.
智慧小补帖
Colleague. Translation.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net